I hope this works. It doesn't look that clear, but it's clear. It's clear. It's clear. My people, peace and love and blessings to each and every one of you all on this very beautiful evening. I just got back home from work, well, about a half hour ago, and I decided I can get this work in for my video. We are talking about Heru, and she deserves to be taken care of in a timely manner. She should not have to wait for long periods of time. She is Heru. My people, welcome to each and every one of you all to the MAPS channel. Mantras, affirmations, prayers, and spells on this beautiful Sunday evening, September 25th, I believe it is. Yes, September 25th, 2022. How are you? I hope you're doing well. Thank you once again for meeting up with me here at the MAPS channel. And yes, we are talking about the HEKAU of Heru. And so, my people, this is very important, very auspicious, and just very wonderful. My people, my hair. My hair has grown dramatically, and so I decided to twist it. I got the double strand twist, and it's going to be my go-to style. The double strand twist is my go-to style. Now I have twisted it and I have wrapped it with my head wrap, so this twist looks all flattened. You know why? Because it is. And my people, I have been, and I guess I'm talking about my hair. But this is in the realm of Heru, right? It's all about beauty and caring and loving and joy and all these good, very beautiful things. So I'm talking about my hair. My people. Now I had made this oil blend, right? It is sweet almond oil as the base oil. And then within that oil, I put in ylang ylang essential oil. And did I put something else in that, or is it just the ylang ylang? I think it is only ylang ylang essential oil, and I've just been using that on my face, right, to help moisturize my skin. Now that it's starting to get dry here in California, or at least in the Bay Area, right now it's starting to dry up. And this is the time when we start getting the fire situation and all that kind of stuff because it's so dry and windy. My skin gets like that. And what ends up happening is it gets dark in the creases and under the eyes and all that jazz like that. So I decided I'm going to start using some of that essential oil that I got sitting in my bathroom for years. Use it. So that's what I'm doing. And as I put that stuff on my face, my hairline, I sort of hit my hairline. I hit the hairline with the oil. And because of that, my hairline came back in. My hairline came back in because I was figuring that I was going to end up with a receding hairline just because that's my age. No, I don't have to have a receding hairline, at least not to the extent. And I realized that all I had to do is put oil on my hairline with these magical essential oils. Ylang ylang is only one. I'm pretty sure that you can use geranium or you can use just any other kind, any of the flowers, rose. I have some rose water too that I've just started using once again. I bought it months ago and I used it daily for maybe about a month, and then I set it down and it's been set down for a good little couple of months. Picked it up again because I'm going to need it because, like I said, air is getting dry around here. But the extra benefit is that my hairline came back in. You see all of that, because it's not as long as the rest of my hair. That's just new growth right there. And even in the temples, I've always had issues with my temples, you know. But right now, I'm looking, my hairline looks pretty normal. You know, it looks full. It doesn't look like it's receding. So I got this going on is much shorter than the rest. I'm totally stoked. If I keep putting that, then it may all come back. See, this is all fill in, especially right here. My hair is very short right there. At the very least, if it's not as long as the rest, at least it's filled in and it looks, you know, it looks halfway decent. But my people, my hair is wrapped. I'm wrapping my hair. And this, I guess, is my little protective style. I'm going to be wearing my hair in double strand twists. That's going to be my thing. I'm not going to lock my hair. I'm not going to do anything like that. It's just going to be double strand twists. I don't even think I want to. I was thinking at first, before my hair got this length, that what I wanted to do was to braid it, get it braided. But every time I think about getting it braided, I think about the torture that would be getting braids in my hair, especially if I go to our sisters, our African sisters, and get the thing done. They have a tendency to braid it super tight. And I don't feel like experiencing that just so that I can have long hair. And then even with the long hair, the extensions, that hair, who knows what kind of chemicals they put on the top of that hair. You know, even the kinky, curly kind that looks a lot like our natural hair, even that stuff has got something in it that I don't really want in my hair. And then there's the part where you got to keep doing it. Of course, with my natural hair, I'm going to have to keep retwisting, double strand twisting it. So it's going to have to be redone again and again. I don't know. Maybe I'll have more patience. I've always liked that hairdo, double strand twist, but I never liked doing it. I did it, but I never liked doing it. It's just impatience on my part. But this is what I got going on right now. Yep, all of this is just coming in. It's kind of baldish right in this spot right there. Essential oils inside of a carrier oil like sweet almond oil or coconut oil or olive oil or just whichever. And you use that to grease your scalp with the essential oil inside of the carrier oil, natural carrier oil, not petroleum, okay, not your other stuff, but the natural stuff. It it stimulates hair growth. And I've heard sisters talking about the magic wonder of Jamaican black castor oil, is it? Jamaican black castor oil. I don't have that. I've never had that. Maybe I should get it, or maybe I don't need to. I just use the oil I have and I put essential oil in it, and it just stimulates the growth. Stimulates the growth. It even stimulates the growth of my eyebrows. My eyebrows they were thinning, they were super thin. They are way thicker than they ever been. And that's just from using natural products. Okay, enough of that. Enough about that, my people. Especially to you guys who aren't interested in hearing all that. You guys are interested in hearing about the HEKAU of Heru. Let me get right to it then. After 9 minutes. My people, once again, I'm working from the Metu Netter Volume 6 for the HEKAUs and the Metu Netter Volume 4 for the laws. Those two together make all that you need to develop. All right, so let's get to it here. Heru, the imagination, is one of three faculties. Three. Just beautiful blessings. Three faculties through which behavior is programmed. You have three faculties in your spirit through which you can program your own behavior. You can't say that God didn't have your back, or the Most High, or Jah Rastafari, or whoever, whatever you call. Straight up got your back. 3 different faculties, okay? You have the other 2. Okay, let's start over. The imagination is one of the 3 faculties through which behavior is programmed. The other 2 are the verbal thinking, which is Sebek, and the receptive faculty, which is Aset. Creative visualization has been used extensively in medical practice in conjunction with altered states of consciousness to correct physical and emotional disorders. It has also been used to improve physical and mental performance. In such applications, its use is based on trance visualization of the end results. Trance visualization of the end result is always that. You are always visualizing what it is you want, the end result. If you want to be a fantastic high jumper, say you're in the Olympics or something, you visualize yourself achieving that very thing. And somehow, with the magic that is, things come to pass some kind of way. It just does. It's magic. It has also been used to improve physical and mental performance. In such applications, its use is based on trance visualization of the end results. There is a saying about the darkness that fails to comprehend the light that shines in it. In spite of the overwhelming evidence of the power of the imagination to alter behavior, it has not been used methodically by practitioners. It has not been used, the imagination has not been used methodically by behavioral practitioners such as priests, educators, psychologists, etc. Yet its power has been methodically called on to manipulate and exploit people. The imagination, the Heru energy has been manipulated by the music industry specifically, and other industries against you. You don't know that you have that kind of power. You don't know that you can guide your own imagination towards visualizing something and achieving that goal. I mean, people who are athletes do this stuff all the time, but that's all right. Let's move on. The power of the imagination lies in the power of images to arouse and channel the life force, which is the Ra, also known as Ki, also known as Kundalini, etc. It is the tool that connects the will, which is Heru, which is limited to indicating the intention, with the life force that provides the energy to carry out the intention. Okay, the the will initiates the energy, the life force manifests. Okay, there's these divisions of the spirit. Okay, let me not go off. Okay, I don't want to make this more complex than it has to be. The ignorance of this simple fact is behind the nonsensical talk about a weak or a strong will. I know that's hard to grasp. The way I finally grasped what it is he's saying myself. Okay, after 30 years of study, there is no energy in the will, okay, for it to be either weak or strong. There's no energy in the will. The will is consciousness. Okay. It must be connected to the executive part of being through an image that represents the goal. That's how it works. All right. The master key in the use of the imagination to carry out the will resides in its power to arouse the life force emotions, sensations, and desires. We are all acquainted with the emotional experience of imagining something pleasant or horrible. To achieve your goals, you must hold on to the image of yourself in full enjoyment of your goal. To achieve your goal, you have to be able to imagine yourself enjoying that very goal. Enjoying it. You have to be enjoying it. That brings the energy, okay? Your enjoyment. And this is what Ra Nefer Amen says. I repeat, fully enjoying. Let me read that sentence again. To achieve your goals, okay, you must hold on to the image of your person, is what he's saying, but what he means is yourself, of you in full enjoyment, fully enjoying it. Okay, you got to fully enjoy your goal. You have to see, you have to imagine yourself fully enjoying it. Okay. I repeat, fully enjoying. Some success gurus instruct that you must visualize your goal. If there's no enjoyment in your visualization, it means that the energy to move you towards the goal is not there. What happens when a writer fails to use strong verbs and instead uses adjectives and adverbs? He fails to move the reader. Pleasure is the key. It is the reason that it shares the honors with peace in the experience of happiness, joy, and peace. Okay. Many of you have heard the above instructions in many success courses, and you have tried the visualization routine without success or with meager results. What happened? You were not told about the other laws that govern the process. You were not told about the difference between an animal man and a human being using creative visualization versus that of a God person using creative visualization. Oh, I need to reread that. You were not told about the other laws that govern the process, okay? You were not told about the difference between an animal man and a human being using creative visualization versus that of a God person, okay? People fail to achieve their goals even though they use the imagination correctly because they counteract the effort by breaking the other laws that govern the manifestation of events. The 11 laws of God. See, it's not easy. Just because you desire it, you got to follow the laws, okay? That's why you see so much visual, I mean, so many people talking about manifestation and so many of these teachers out here telling you how to manifest and telling you, well, the reason you're not manifesting is this or that. It's the same. They blame the victim, they blame you for not being able to manifest, but they're the ones supposedly teaching you. So if you're not doing it, it means then that they're not teaching you correctly, right? It's the same thing in religion. It's the same thing in religion. They tell you you're supposed to be upright, upstanding in how you're supposed to go about it, but they don't teach you. They don't teach you the fullness of it. Okay, so you end up going off the rails, and these days the people don't go off the rails more so than the leaders themselves. I tell you, I know I've talked endlessly about that kind of stuff, but we're going to move forward anyway, okay? Reality and the imagination. And we're talking about Heru. She governs the imagination. Heru governs the imagination, okay? A very important fact about the imagination is that what is imagined in a state of trance, okay, is registered in the brain and mind as if it took place physically. If, for example, I imagine myself while in a trance, okay, giving 100 successful speeches, the experiences will be registered in my brain and mind as real, no less than if I had given them physically. Whatever you imagine that you want, can do, and that has taken place will be supported by the faculties that are responsible for shaping and manifesting events in your life. The great thing about this great gift from God is that there are no obstructions or oppositions or ridicule or criticisms to be concerned about as you go through the work of piling up your history of successful achievements. So basically, what's going on here, because a lot of times we don't do things because we're afraid of being ridiculed or whatever, and those ridicules, those oppositions and those obstructions sort of hold you back and can stop you when you're in your own imagination, when you're in a meditative state, when you're in a trance state, okay, and you meditate on what you decide you want to meditate on, and you do it enough times and you see yourself successful, you're visualizing success again and again and again. You know what? If you were afraid of making a speech in front of people, but you have created this ritual of meditating and visualizing yourself giving successful speeches, you will end up, you will counteract that fear. You will end up without having a fear anymore. You would lose the fear because you've done it. You've done it. Your brain and your mind registers your meditations and your trance work as reality. And there are those who say that this here, this 3D is less real than what's in your mind anyway. So if that's the case, then you chose to see yourself giving successful speeches again and again. Well, you've done it. And so, therefore, you have no reason to be fearful if that's what it was. If you were afraid because you felt like you would fail, imagine yourself being successful. And so you can kill that fear. Is freaking amazing. Is totally amazing. And let me tell you that the music industry uses this very trance situation, but against you. Because when a certain kind of music comes, especially if it's a particular star, they can build a star out of anybody. Especially if they have a little talent, they can develop the talent and then they can just portray the person in a way that people would start worshiping the person. Okay, people go into a trance when they're listening to certain music, or if they're watching a video, because there's the image right there, it's on the screen. You don't even have to imagine it in your own mind. You can just watch it. There's the imagination right there. And people usually they go into a wonder state when they're watching these fabulous videos of these people. To go into that trance state, what it is that Ron Nefer Amen says is part of what's going on is is wonderment. And when you're in a state of wonderment, you sort of hold your breath. In a state of awe, it's the holding of the breath that is part of the trance. Okay, that's why it's breath control. That's why when you talk about meditative work, trance work, is based on your breath and how you intake and outgo your breath, how you maintain that. But the quick way is just to be in a state of awe. Okay. When something like that is happening, people are holding their breath and they don't realize. Not to the point where they can't breathe. They will breathe, but I'm just saying. What? My people, pick up on the vibes, okay? Pick up on what I'm putting down. All right. But when you're meditating, you're in control. You control that in a particular way. It's not so happenstance as if you were just watching some fabulous video of Michael Jackson dancing and moonwalking or something like that, or leaning. Michael Jackson was forever doing stuff that would have people in a trance. That's why he became the king of pop, not because he did anything fabulous more so than anybody else, but because he knew how to manipulate people's minds with the projection of his skills and his ability. Now, not trying to take nothing from Michael Jackson, okay, because he could sing and he could dance, okay, but it takes more than being able to sing and dance. There's got to be a little bit more to it than that. Okay? Anyway, my people, this is what Ron Nefer Amen says. Now, if the church could do this in a positive way, in a way that builds people up, then they could create some good. Okay. And they probably could do that back in the day. Maybe a while ago they were able to do that. Like some colleges, especially some HBCUs. Is that how you say? Historically black college? Yeah. HBCUs. Yeah. Okay. When they do their Greek letter dances, whoo, people are sitting on the edge of their seats watching. And especially with the girls, the alpha kappa alphas, all those dances that they be doing, those movements that they do, that kind of stuff it creates a bond, okay, that these girls. And then the whole thing of hazing, I don't know if hazing is a thing anymore. It used to be a terrible thing where they had people doing crazy stuff, hazing. Spike Lee touched on hazing in his show. What was the name of that show? The Black School. I forgot the name of the doggone show, but anyway. All of that taps into the imagination and taps into that energy. It taps into that creativity and that visualization kind of stuff. Now, if you create the production in front of the people, they can just watch that. They don't have to use their own brain to visualize. They can just watch what you're doing or watch a movie or whatever. It's heavy, my people. It's very heavy. Let me move forward. Okay, what time is it? Let me keep it going. All right, to achieve your goals, you must hold on to the image of your person. You got to hold on to it. One of the things that can be an issue when you're first learning to meditate is that it's not easy to hold on to something in your mind. Your mind is just steady moving. It it won't sit still long enough to hold on to an image. That's why when you watch a movie, it's easier. They can control you though through the movie. If you can create your own movie of a vision of something that you want to do. Oh my goodness. Let me keep going. The master key to the use of the imagination to carry out the will resides in its power to arouse the life force emotions, sensations, and desires. All of those things, those are the life force, the emotions, the sensations, and the desire. We are all acquainted with the emotional experience of imagining something pleasant or something horrible. To achieve your goals, you must hold on to the image of yourself in full enjoyment of your goal. I repeat, fully enjoying it. Some success gurus instruct that you must visualize your goal. If there is no enjoyment in your visualization, it means that the energy to move you towards the goal is not there. That life force energy, your emotions, your sensations and desires, if that has not been moved, then that life force is not there. So you're not moved. The goal is not going to come about. All right. What happens when a writer fails to use strong verbs, which are action, right? And instead uses adjectives and adverbs? Writers know he fails to move the reader and you end up with a boring book, right? Pleasure is the key. It is the reason that it shares the honors with peace in the experience of happiness, okay? Joy and peace, okay? Pleasure. Many of you have heard the above instructions in many success courses, and you have tried the visualization routine without success or with meager results. What happened? You were not told about the other laws that govern the process, okay? You were not told about the difference between an animal man and a human being versus, okay, using creative visualization versus that of a God person, okay, an Asar person. People fail to achieve their goals even though they use the imagination correctly because they counteract the effect by breaking the other laws that govern the manifestation of events. The 11 laws of God, okay? Reality and the imagination. A very important fact about the imagination is that what is imagined in a state of trance is registered in the brain and the mind as if it took place physically. If, for example, I imagine my person, myself, while in trance, giving 100 successful speeches, the experiences, and you experienced them, okay, will be registered in my brain and mind as real, okay, no less than if I had given them physically. Whatever you imagine that you want, can do, and that has taken place will be supported by the faculties that are responsible for shaping and manifesting events in your life. The great thing about this great gift from God is that there are no obstructions or oppositions or ridicule or criticisms to be concerned about. When you're imagining your own mind, there's nobody there but you in your mind. Nobody can tell you, nah, you can't do that. Nah, nah. You don't have to worry about none of that. All right. As you go through the work of piling up your history of successful achievements, other important functions of the imagination, vision of the path and steps. An important imaginative skill is the ability to visualize the path and steps through which a project or task can be accomplished. In this manner, one is able to see beforehand errors, requirements, desirabilities, and the various parameters associated with the undertaking. This process is a mental walking toward through the event that is contemplated. Given the fact that people who do this very well are called people of vision or visionaries, it is safe to conclude that this manner of using the imagination is not extensively developed in the majority of people. You can awaken this talent in the state of trance. This is that talent that Nikola Tesla had so strongly. He could come to some kind of conclusion about create something and then look at it in his own mind and spot the errors in it and correct the errors in his brain, in his mind. And then once he looked at it, he visualized himself looking at all the areas where anything could be an error, and he can correct the error in his own mind before he ever creates the thing in reality. That's some major stuff right there. And that's why he was considered a genius, right? And that's why people are still talking about the Tesla car right now. Anyway, you can awaken this talent in a state of trance. Invention solutions. The ability to step through a process is also an important skill used in the solution of problems. It is the chief armament of artists and inventors. Invocation of emotions. We are all acquainted with the power of images to call up sensations and emotions. It is inadvisable, therefore, to dwell, especially just before going to sleep, on images of undesirable outcomes in our lives. Okay, seeing yourself ill or failing, any of that kind of stuff. Such behavior adds strength to these emotions. On the contrary, especially since what images play in your mind is under the control of your will, you must focus only on positive images. Any event that generates a powerful negative emotion is always composed of an image. You saw something, a statement, some kind of affirmation, feedback, and an emotion. It is important to take the image of such occurrences back into an altered state of consciousness with the correct affirmations and in result images to reprogram the spirit. That's that thing where we often do that. We think negative things and we focus on that stuff. We imagine it. We're contemplating it in our mind. We're building it. We're doing these what ifs. What if this happened? Then this will happen to me. Then this next thing will happen, and then this other thing. You've visualized the whole thing just now, but it's something negative. And then for a lot of people, it comes to reality. And that's why the artists and the poets say, "The thing I've greatly feared has come to pass." I think that's in the Bible or something like that. Well, you greatly feared it, and you probably were imagining it, and you created that thing. It existed in your mind's eye, and the brain just made it come into reality. I mean, just the energies just made it come into reality. I know it sounds hocus pocus kind of stuff, or hokey or something like that. All right, escapism. No one has to be taught how to use the imagination to escape pain and suffering. It is important to realize, though, that this is a temporary, unreal, and weak means of dealing with adversity. Instead of replacing pain with peace, people attempt to use the imagination to pump up the pleasure. As the imagination fails along the way, stronger means of inducing pleasure, wanton, libertinism, drugs, etc., are introduced. Congregative thinking. The imagination is a function of the right side of the brain. It operates in the lower division of the mind and is thus confined to the outer aspects of reality. As a right brain function, it brings things together, but does so according to their external attributes in conformity with the lower mind functions. Okay. All right. Heru's energy and mental qualities. Heru's energy is metaphorized as being cool and moist, meaning that it corresponds to a metabolic state that contributes to the optimum expression of the imagination. Moisture is used as a metaphor for the mental state, is conducive to flights of the imagination, mediumistic manifestations, psychic phenomena, emotionalism, fantasizing, visualizing, etc. All right. Heru personality keynotes: affable, accommodating, amiable, amorous, artistic, attractive demeanor, benevolent, capricious, charming, considerate, courteous, creative, delicate, elegant, elusive, fashionable, fashionista, flatterer, friendly, frivolous, gallant, gentle, gracious, imaginative, inventive, loving, obliging, playful, pleasant, pleasure loving, poetic, seductive, sensitive, sex appeal, sociable. That's the last one. All right. Summary of Heru's keynotes: imagination, invention, visualization of the path to take in planning, escapism, emotionalism, congregative thinking, visual thinking, right brain. The imagination, excuse me, the imagination is the chief vehicle for the expression of the will. Therefore, images of goals or things desired that are charged with strong emotion or sensual energies have great power of manifesting in life. You must keep the keynotes of Heru uppermost in your mind as you reflect on the qualities of each of its angelic HEKAU mantras. Okay, let's go with the mantras. Mahasja. While breathing in, Vong Kling Sao. While breathing out, Mahasja Hung. And what this deals with in terms of bad habits and negative traits: drug indulgence, ignorance, too imaginative, too sensual, alcohol abuse, gluttony, conduct, false conduct, psychological disequilibrium, dogmatism, superstition, libertinism. In terms of careers, talents to cultivate and develop: learning, philosophy, language, foreign languages to learn, theology, arts, graphics, decoration. Personal and spiritual development to deal with, peace with others, to live in peace with others, past life recollection through meditation and dreams, spiritual growth and transformation, esoteric practices and study, the metaphysics, justice, to increase the sense of justice, romance and romantic talent. Now, the psychic abilities: mind over matter realizations, magic and miracles. Now, the vices: religious fanaticism, antagonisms, war, magic, negative, the black hexing, inclined to doing these kinds of things in terms of the vices. All right. The next is Leovja. Leovja. While breathing in, Vong Kling Sao. While breathing out, Bogi Leovja. Bad habits we're dealing with: propensity to losses, despair, decadence, libertinism, immorality, spiritual falsehood, and propagators of such. Career talents to cultivate and develop: archivists, okay, All right, it's personal and spiritual development, the esoteric practices and study of the metaphysics, imagination, improving your imagination, life challenges to get divine help. Okay, psychic abilities, mind over matter realizations, back to the magic and the miracles. Psychic protection, receiving this against evil people for protection against these evil people. Vices, spiritual evil and negative practices and tendencies. Okay. All right. The next word, the next heka is hahuja. While breathing in vong kling sau, while breathing out hahuja ong. Bad habits, negative traits, prone to violence. Okay. All right. Career talents, cultivating and developing. The rights of people, you're an advocate. Science, you have an aptitude for science. Politics and politicians, lawyers, business success and administrators. Personal and spiritual development, spiritual answers to life events, and to get divine help. All right, psychic protection to receive against accidents with cars, etc., prone to protect against these. Okay, protection against animal attacks. All right, justice for prisoners who are unjustly penalized. Okay, spiritual, evil and negative practices and tendencies. Okay, and the vices, terrorism, kidnapping, capable of kidnapping. All right, violence incited through writings, writing words that incite violence. Wow, okay. Crime in the name of religion. Criminals offer a protection to. Okay. The next heka is asalja. Asalja. While breathing in vong kling sau, while breathing out asalja hana ong. Asalja hana ong. The bad habits and negative traits, infidelity, permissiveness, sexual perversion, and false systems, false dangerous systems. Okay. I'm not sure what type of systems, just false and dangerous ones. Okay. Career talents to cultivate, lecturers and public speakers, visionary entrepreneurs, professors and teachers, arts, graphic and decoration, surgeons, plastic surgeons. All right. Personal and spiritual development, the 11 laws of God, ideals to pursue, knowledge, secret reveals, enlightenment. Okay. Ooh, there's a lot. All right, I'm almost done, my people. Spiritual protection, justice, revealing concealed truths in litigations. Okay. The next word is Mihael. While breathing in Vong Kling Sau, while breathing out Zaka Mihael. Bad habits, negative traits, prone to being a gigolo. Infidelity, playboys, playgirls, prone to this kind of things. All right. Career talents to cultivate and develop, education, social programs, health, marriage counselors, public relations, promoters of women's rights. Okay. Personal and spiritual development to strengthen marriages, relationships, and help with marriages, romance and romantic talent, to work out agreements and reconciliations. All right. Psychic abilities, psychic revelations and discoveries. Okay, the next Heka is Umabel. Umabel. While breathing in Vong Kling Sau. While breathing out, Sila Umabel. Bad habits and negative traits: apathetic, infidelity, libertinism, unable to face reality, tendency to isolation. All right. The word umabel, sila umabel, will help with that kind of thing. Career, talent to cultivate and develop. Oracle diviners, counselors, poets, astrologers, esoteric practices and studies, dealing with the metaphysics again, psychology and psychologists, and child psychology too. Health, self-destructive behavior. So that umab il will help people who have self-destructive behaviors towards their health. Personal and spiritual development, patience, okay, romantic talent and romance, and acquiring friendships. And the vices are in contradiction to nature. Okay. So the next Hekai is Manakel. While breathing in, Vang, Kling, Sau. While breathing out, Pora, Manakel. The bad habits we're dealing with and the negative traits: moral weakness, inclination to be involved in scandals, ungrateful and disrespects those who help. This is that one right here of that video link that I shared on my community page of that person who lied about wanting to get a male to female transformation, gender reassignment, or whatever the term is that they use now, and had a GoFundMe to do this. And the way they put it together and how they talk, they ended up, well, this particular person had 4 or 5 different ones, different GoFundMes and stuff like that. And as some people was having doubts about him, they start digging into the person's history and whatever, and they found out a whole bunch of things, like the person rented an expensive apartment, the person put down a big old chunk of money on a Audi, a brand new Audi, and all kinds of stuff, but was telling the people that they were trying to get a transformation operation. Some other person who said they had got it said in California, and this person in California, you can get that done for $30,000, but you have already raised $350,000 and you begging for more. This particular person, if you checked out that video link that I provided, had straight attitude, like continue to donate. We're still on task here. Her attitude was like that person. When a person donated a whole bunch and then they start finding out all this stuff, then they had things to say. You lied, blah blah blah. You just that person put them down. I never should have let you donate to me. I never should have. That's this right here. Ungrateful and disrespects those who helped. That person needs to be chanting Malakel, Von Kling Sao, Pora Malakel, over and over to clear that negativity from the spirit, because he didn't get the thing done, or maybe already had it done, or whatever the lie is, have no care for the people that donated all the money. All they saying is give me more. The goal is 500,000. Shut up and put more money on. Has not been, well, this happened years ago, so I'm not sure how it all ended, but I'm just saying it happened about 2 and 3 years ago. It's just that kind of a mentality, that kind of a heart, that kind of a hardness of heart, and how money does that to people. But some people say money is neutral. I don't think it's neutral. I think it has a negative vibration. and the weak can't handle it. After all, you got to know that money is occulted stuff anyway. You know that their means of creating this exchange or whatever, it's got to have something on it. It's got to have some kind of whatever on it. Okay, since we know we're dealing with 33-degree masonry and all this stuff, then you gotta know that the money has some kind of negativity on it. You got to know that. That's just the conclusion I drew. It's just a logical conclusion. Okay. And then when you just watch how so many people act concerning it, they act weird about it. So many people are willing just to throw people under the bus, throw their family under the bus because they don't agree with their family. Their family moves a different way than them. Well, you don't move like me, then you have negative mindset or whatever, according to the person. Well, then I kick you straight to the curb. I was watching a video. I didn't watch the entire thing. And since it's already public, I'm just going to say who it is. I watched Sabrina Samuels. I've been watching Sabrina Samuels' channel for years. Okay. For years, I've been watching Sabrina Samuels. Okay. She's a real classy lady, real classy. I love her. She's been there for a long time. But she invited April Mason to her show. And she asked April, well, how is it that you managed to get to the top? First thing coming out of April's mouth is, well, I had to cut people out of my life. If you got to cut your own family out of your life because they don't move the way you move, then you got to say that you're doing this for the money. Then you got to say that the money has got some kind of a hold. You got to say that it wants you to get rid of people who don't think the way you think they should think. They don't think in terms of money. Why should you have to get rid of them? Why do they have to be kicked to the curb? Why can't you be like Jesus and still be around the people without them being able to influence your mind? But they always said we kick them to the curb and we don't deal with them. Even family, even family, even family. That right there's got you gotta wonder about that. That's a terrible thing in my view. Just because somebody doesn't see things the way you see them. Now, if they're crazy, and they want to hurt you, well, that's different. But if say for instance they're a Christian and you're no longer Christian, you being the God person, the goddess person, you have to understand that you have a different way of seeing things, but you have space to allow somebody else to see it differently. You don't have to get upset at them because they don't see it the way you do. That's just that. Okay, my people, let me keep going because I want to go to bed tonight. What is this? This is 8:40. I'm supposed to be in bed right now. I go to bed early. But anyway, career, talents to cultivate and develop. Okay, feng shui for the home, the practitioners of such, artists of exceptional talent. Okay, the really top level artists. Okay, opportunities to better recognize and take advantage of the opportunities, being able to pick up on those vibes quick. Esoteric practices and the study of the metaphysics. Metaphysics is all in with head Heru, definitely. And in terms of health, dealing with anxiety, okay, these these HEKAU will help you deal with anxiety. We know a whole lot of people have anxiety. I did a post about anxiety in my community post. I was saying that if you I think I was talking about money. If you what did I say? Anyway, just check out what I said in my community section. It has to do with anxiety. A lot of people who are trying to get that money are anxious. They feel like if they don't achieve it, then, something's wrong with them. No, nothing's wrong with you if you don't achieve that, whatever that is that you think you're supposed to achieve, and that you're comparing yourself and competing with others for. And that's the reason why people are not paying attention to their true nature. Sometimes you just are not the one to be chasing after money like that. You're just not the one. Sometimes that's just the case. You don't have that kind of a spirit. Why can't you accept that? That's all right. Keep going for it. Beat yourself to the damn ground until you get it right. Personally speaking, it didn't work for me. I did beat myself pretty much for a good almost 10 years trying to figure out that entrepreneurial, that thing that supposedly was in me, that was the entrepreneur waiting to come out. I never was able to tap into that. Never. And for a good little minute, I was very disappointed in myself because of that. Till it finally dawned on me, but wait a minute. Maybe that's one of those things where not everybody has that kind of calling or talent or whatever. And then I say, well, let me get a job. Got a job within a week and am doing very well. Have reached all kind of strides through the job. Okay, that struggling for the whole entrepreneurial thing never would have given to me. The reason for me that I'm not the entrepreneurial type is that I'm not that one who's got to be doing everything. The parts that I hate would be all the detail oriented stuff, that kind of paperwork kind of stuff. I'm not the one. And the other part is I'm not the one who is a manager of people. I don't do management. I'm just not that one. So I don't like the paperwork. Some people will say, well, why don't you just hire somebody to do it for you? Then I would have to manage them. I'm not a manager. When I finally accepted that, then I had to finally accept that, well, you're probably not going to be no good as an entrepreneur. You're never going to be that. Find a different alternative to make money. Find another way. I did, and it works better for me. I don't have to stress. I can do my calling. What I'm doing here right now, teaching through these books, I can do that without having to worry, without having to have the stress of trying to make it pay me. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to figure out how to make this pay me. It doesn't have to pay me. I can get paid from some totally different thing rather than my ministry that I'm doing right here, talking to leaders. Okay. If I had to try to figure out how to make this thing pay me, then it would have to have been compromised all kinds of different ways. I would have to compromise. It would become weakened. It wouldn't have the strength, because what I'm doing with this is sort of pushing. If I'm trying to make people give money to me, then I'm going to have to compromise. I'm going to have to become soft, because people ain't going to pay you if you in their face. Only certain people are going to do that. Generally speaking, people ain't going to do it. You have to compromise. If it is that you're supposed to be in people's faces in such a way, I'm not really in nobody's face, but I'm just saying, I speak hard words here. If I had to wait for somebody to pay me to speak hard words, I would be broke. And I was till I got a job. Okay. And then the whole thing with the this whole stuff dealing with the rhythms of Al Gore. That was another thing that was you got to focus in a particular way with that. Completely not what I'm doing. Completely not what I'm doing. Anyway, I had to come to the conclusion it's just not for me to be an entrepreneur in this day and age. Okay. Maybe a shopkeeper at some point in my life, but not an entrepreneur. I don't know. Anyway, and I'm just saying that some people just don't have that talent and just have to accept that about themselves. All right. Rather than wear themselves all the way out. Sebek. Oh, all right. If I'm sitting here talking about Sebek, then I'm done. All right. So, my people, let me go over it again. Personal and spiritual development, spiritual growth and transformation, life challenges, optimism, qigong, meditation and success, and vices, spiritual, evil and negative practices and tendencies. All right. Heru, sweet and to the point. The beauty of the imagination that taps into the energy that so many people talk about, right? The magic, the manifesting. How does that whole thing work? It works through the life force energy that you have and that is connected to the Most High God. That's how that works. All right. And you have the power to bring things forth, but you must do it exactly as it should be done. As is the way anything that needs to be done has to be done. You have to do it the way it's supposed to be done, as has been laid out by the Most High. Okay. If you want to have electricity flowing through your house, then there's certain things you got to do. And you got to do it that way. Okay. If you want to bake a cake, there's certain things you got to do and you got to do it that way. And it's just that's just the way it is. That's just the way things are. You can't do it this way or that way, that other way, and expect it to come out the way it's supposed to. And of course, this kind of power, this kind of God power, you got to do it exactly as it has to be done. All right. That's why people talk about manifestation, but they don't achieve it. And that's why teachers who teach about manifestation make their money through the books that they teach through, the books that they sell, not through the manifesting. Okay. They may or may not be manifesting a damn thing. What they really are doing is selling books. Okay. And that includes Bob Proctor, too. Okay. He sold books, and a lot of them do. Lisa Nichols, she sold books, and all of them manifestation, all of those secret people. All right, my people. Anna Renee, your love power goddess, your sacred word priestess, and your doula of divine transformation coming at you with the HEKAU, the mantras, the affirmation and the spells that are connected with Heru, the goddess of imagination, beauty, love, power, all of it. All right, now it's time for me to go to bed. Peace. Talk to you guys in the next one. Blessings.